The discord on the entire Chicago Bears draft has gotten a little too far. And so I want to kind of rein the conversation back in. I want to talk about why, even though there are questions on the draft, as there probably will be questions on every single draft every year of the draft's existence, why Bears fans shouldn't be this worried heading into next season. We'll talk about all that and more coming up next. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the page. Do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Only channel talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you stay in tune with us, man. So here's my thing, right? And I think this is a very valid conversation that as Bears fans, we probably need to have so that everybody calms down in this whole conversation, right? Because how the draft has gone, we look at the first round, we look at the second round. We had the conversation yesterday that we think the Bears draft was a good draft, but, you know, do we question maybe the philosophy of some of this? And I have to remind people of this conversation because I see where the Twitter discourse is going. It's almost like we feel a need to argue no matter what. Just because one side doesn't agree with the other side, you got to argue about it. I get it. It's sports. That's how sports debates go. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that we can all agree on here. This is not the same old Chicago Bears. Everybody breathe. This is not a 5-win team that is looking to improve to an 8-win team. This is a Chicago Bears team that you watched last season with a ton of issues go out there and still find a way to win 11 games. Oh, but how are you going to improve, Pat, if you don't find a way to address the defensive line? Listen, I understand. I wanted the Bears to address the defensive line as well, but it shouldn't be to the point where you think that this Bears team is going to all of a sudden go out there and win 6 games next season and everything is going to fall off a cliff. Did we forget the amount of injury issues that we dealt with last season? Did we forget the amount of players that ended up missing games that we were dealing with last season? We were signing guys off of the street to come in. And guess what? Those guys were able to come in and make a heck of an impact on the defensive side of the football. We were signing guys off of the street we had guys, I should say, that were coming in via training camp that we were like, oh, cool, nice camp body that ends up leading the team in takeaways. So I think everybody needs to take a step back and look at the situation that the Chicago Bears are actually in. You are going into year 2 of a season where it is unbelievable to say, but Caleb Williams is really in a position that most Chicago Bears quarterbacks have not been in. He is going to get the opportunity to go out there and be in the second year of a system that he now understands a little bit better and now is going to be able to improve upon that. Hence why Ben Johnson pointed to coaching when he talked about, well, how do you expect the team to get better in the pass rush? Now, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your skirts and say, hey, I fully and 110% believe that Montez Sweat and Grady Jarrett and Dio Adangbo and all of these names are going to be so much better this upcoming season because coaching was better. I think that it is a tough bridge to cross for me. But the one thing that I will say is I do think that there's going to be a lot of people who understand Dennis Allen's system a heck of a lot better. I do think that you're going to be dealing with a defensive line that doesn't have to go through that growth period of trying to figure out what checks and what not is being called, and doesn't have to go through that growth period of trying to figure out, okay, I'm playing in a different position than I've been in last season. And I do think that that will help them a little bit this upcoming season. Is it going to be the answer? Probably not. But I feel like people are looking at this draft and they are saying that this is the reason that the Chicago Bears are going to go into next season and be worse. Remember, we did this same thing last season. I had the same conversation about Ruben Hippolyte last season as I am having about the 3rd-round picks from this season. I didn't believe that he was going to make much of an impact on the field. Guess what? He didn't. But at the end of the day, that problem did not become the biggest problem because the Chicago Bears were able to go out there and develop and put people in place that they felt could get the job done, who for the most part did that job. DeMarco Jackson, i.e. One of the main names that you can throw in there into that conversation. Again, I'm not saying that everything was answered. I don't think that you were expecting everything to be answered this offseason. But the one thing that I do believe wholeheartedly is you have a coaching staff that is going to put people in a position to be successful. And let me ask you this, for the people that are still skeptical on the conversation that we're having here, when you go out and you look at Caleb Williams coming into this season, if Caleb Williams improves from a just under 60% passer for most of the season to a 65% passer, what kind of quarterback are you looking at? If Rome Odunze goes from a 50 to 60% catch percentage, what kind of wide receiver are you looking at? If the Chicago Bears run game is just a little bit better because now DeAndre Swift comes into the season and knows what is being expected of him, and Kyle Monangai is not a rookie anymore, how much better do you think that the offense is going to be in that situation? And if that offense improves, does that mean that we can talk about that offense taking better advantage of maybe some of the turnovers that the Chicago Bears have? Let's say the turnovers are less. Well, Pat, because the big conversation is going to be, well, Pat, you're probably not going to lead the NFL in turnovers again. I would agree with that. It is very difficult to do 2 seasons in a row. There's no question about it. Let's say they don't lead the league in turnovers again. Let's say they end up somewhere around 25 turnovers. But they cash in on, instead of being sub 50% most games, say they cash in on 60% of the turnovers that they get. How are you looking at some of the games that the Bears struggled in last season and adjusting it based on this season? That is the bottom line of all of this. Listen, did the Bears address the biggest need that I think most Bears fans feel they have? No, they didn't. But I don't think that that puts you back to square one. I don't think that that drops you back off of a cliff. I don't think that all of a sudden we have to have a conversation about moving on from Ryan Poles, or is Ben Johnson going to figure these things out? He was able to figure it out with a lot of hodgepodge and not knowing the guys last season. And Dennis Allen was able to call a defense that wasn't built in his image. At a minimum, you're coming into this season and you are seeing a defense that looks a lot more like what Dennis Allen is used to calling in his time. Do we think that that's not going to improve how Dennis Allen calls the game on the field? Going out and adding Kobe Bryant, going out and adding Devin Bush, going out and adding Neville Gallimore. Do we think that that's not going to improve how Dennis Allen is able to call certain plays because he has more speed at those positions? Even going via the draft and adding a Dylan Thieneman, do we think that that's not going to help him with how we saw him utilize Jaquan Brisker last season? That is the bottom line of all of this. People are acting like the Chicago Bears are heading the complete wrong direction because they didn't address what we all thought they were going to address in the draft. But as I stated earlier, we're not talking about a 5-win team this year. Even if the Bears only win 11 games next year, but Caleb Williams is more improved and Rome Odunze is more improved, how much further will that take you? Well, Pat, you're playing a first-place schedule this year. Well, I don't remember us going through a cakewalk last season. Remember to start the season when everyone told us we were going to be playing the toughest schedule in football, and so it didn't matter it didn't matter what we did in the offseason because we were going to lose anyway. Well, Ben Johnson was able to overcome that. Why do we think that Ben Johnson wouldn't be able to overcome this now? The reality of the situation is the Chicago Bears are probably going to be able to figure out and navigate these issues very similarly to what we saw them do last season because you got good coaching in place. You've got a guy like Al Harris who knows how to put DBs who we thought had no job on this roster in a good position, and now he's got DBs that fit more of the kind of scheme that he calls. So to me, I think we are having a very, very different conversation when it comes to this upcoming season. If you look at it from the standpoint of, hey, while just like Ben Johnson said, everyone in the building should be getting better. Everyone in the building now understands what it's like to come into training camp. Now can prepare their bodies accordingly. Now maybe you're not going to have the pulled hamstrings. Now maybe you're not going to have the pulled knees, because people are going to be prepared for the kind of training camp that the Bears had last season, this upcoming season, which only prepares you more for the start of the season and gives you an opportunity to hit the ground running and grow throughout the year. I'm excited for this upcoming year. And it seems like there are a lot of people, especially when you go into some of these Twitterverse conversations or you get into some of these debates in the comments, where it's just like, I don't know if you guys know this, but we won the division last year. We won 11 games last year. We got through a couple of rounds of the playoffs last season. We played really good football when it mattered. If you take that team last year and you say, hey, do that thing you did in the fourth quarter, do that in the first quarter, and like just continue that throughout the game, what kind of team are you really talking about here? I get it. They didn't go draft the guys that we wanted. I wanted Danny Dennis Sutton in the third. Thank you. I wanted DDS in the third. I thought he was there for you. This is the time to get him. He's going to be a great piece. Unfortunately, he's a Packer, and I hope he sucks. So I sympathize with the people that are on that side of the fence, but let's not look at this upcoming season and feel like, woe is me, how are we going to answer any questions? This is not the Chicago Bears going out here and trying to add Joe Tryon Shoyinka to the defensive line here. This is a defense that Dennis Allen has shaped a little bit more in his image, and you're going to see it continue to shape that way throughout the year and as the seasons come. And the hope is you can find a way to win the Super Bowl before everything is perfectly set, when you can continue to go out there and win championships. So everybody take a breath. Everybody breathe a little bit. And it is okay if people have an opinion in the comments on the other side or have an opinion in the comments on this side. It's fine. It's okay if you feel the Bears didn't address the biggest need. It's okay if you feel that the Bears did exactly what they got. The third round picks weren't a reach. As long as they're winning games during the season, who gives a you know what? I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love every single day. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We'll be back with more undrafted free agents tomorrow. Also, any news that breaks early tomorrow, we will, or tonight, we'll be on that as well. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always, man. It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.